name is Alicia Milne, and I am the President and CEO of Q2 Metals Corp. I will be speaking to some forward-looking statements during the course of this presentation, and I invite you to please go to our website, download the presentation, and please read through the disclaimers on page 2. Q2 Metals is a Canadian mineral exploration company with a project called the Cisco Lithium Project located in the Nemaska Traditional Territory of the EU Ischii James Bay region of Quebec, Canada. We are currently listed on the TSX Venture Exchange under the stock symbol QTWO. I am the president and CEO of the company, and I have a legal background, having worked for a variety of different companies, private all the way through to senior producing companies. Neil McCallum, who is a geologist, is also our vice president of exploration, and Neil has over 20 years of experience in mineral exploration, and for the past 7 or 8 years has specialized in lithium projects in the James Bay region. Rounding out our board of directors, we have Jody Belfleur, who is also our CFO, Leo Power, Simon Cohn, and Kevin Bottomley. We're also supported by Jason McBride, who is our investor relations manager, Chris Ackerman, corporate development, and Simone Gavin, who heads up our community relations. Our share structure, as at May 1st, is on this page here. Cash on hand currently, this number is listed here is as at February 28th, which was our year end this year, and we had $12 million cash on hand at that point. Up to now, we currently have about $6 million cash on hand, and that's just a virtue of the fact that we had a winter drill program that is now completely paid off, and we have put down a bunch of deposits for our summer program. We are currently fully funded for the work that we have in front of us for the summer 2025, all the way through into the fall. As you can see, we do have analyst coverage on us by Canaccord Genuity and Argonaut Securities. And most recently, we were listed as top 50 in the TSX Venture Exchange, top 50 for the year ended 2024. Moving on to our Cisco project, this is just a quick overview shot of what the terrain looks like in the area in which we work. At the top of the screen, you can see an arrow pointing to the outcrop that we have labeled CO1. And down at the bottom of the screen, you can see the last drill hole of the 2024 drilling season. That distance between that CO1 outcrop and the drill is about 850 meters. During our winter program, we also drilled further to the south of that last drill, and the mineralized zone now extends approximately 1.5 kilometers. Here's where we are in the James Bay region. You can see there's various projects around us. To the north of us, there is the Shakopee project that is held by Patriot Battery Metals. Rio Tinto has the Galaxy project sort of in the middle of the screen there, as well as the Whabouchi project. And we're down south, Cisco Project. The Billy Diamond Highway intersects our project at certain points of it, and we are just 150 kilometers north of the town of Matagami, which is also the Canadian National Railhead. That is where the railway comes to and stops and services the area. That rail also would go all the way down to your port systems, Bécancour, Quebec City, and Montreal. This is an overview of the Cisco claims. Originally, we bought the original Cisco project, which is at the dotted line inset here of that larger map. That was acquired by Q2 in February of 2024. And we expanded on the project once we had a good idea of what we were seeing in the mineralized area. And we expanded the project in November of 2024. A history of the project is that the vendors actually staked the original Cisco project in about 2022, 2023. They got out there and did some work on it. They drilled 6 holes and then realized that they would like to sell the project, which is where we came into things. We bought the project, as I mentioned, in February of 2024, and in June of 2024, we actually got out there and started drilling, doing some additional mapping and sampling of the area. This past February and through to April, we did a winter drill program. This is a nice aerial shot of the project during the winter time. You can see where hole 27 is there. That's one of the rigs that we had. And that out to the CO1 outcrop that you saw earlier in a picture, that's about 1.2 kilometers. And then we drilled south of that as well. In total, we have a total of 37 holes on our project for 14,622 meters. So we're still relatively early stage, but from what we defined so far and from what we continue to see, mineralization is open to the north, to the south, east, and west. And this here is an overview of the results that we've been getting. So when the vendors first started working on the project, at the top of that CO1 outcrop, they drilled 6 holes. When we first got out there in June 2024, we decided to drill essentially along the same line that they were drilling, but we quickly realized that the zone or the mineralization was starting to trend to the south. And that's when we realized in hole number 10 there, CS24-10, when we started drilling that, we ended up hitting 120 meters of a continuous spodumene pegmatite interval. When we had that assayed, it came in at 1.72% lithium oxide. As we continued drilling to the south last summer, we started hitting a couple other very large wide intercepts. Hole 18 hit a 215-meter intercept of continuous spodumene pegmatite, and that ended up grading at 1.69% Li2O. Hole 21 was a pretty phenomenal hole. It had one of the largest intervals that we've seen thus far, and that was a 347-meter interval of continuous spodumene pegmatite that ended up grading at 1.35%. During the winter program, we continued to step out from what we had seen, and hole 27, which is sort of towards the bottom of this map, continued to extend the system to the south. So hole 27 is by far the best hole that we've drilled on the project so far. And that hit a 179-meter interval of continuous spodumene pegmatite, which was followed closely thereafter by a 58-meter interval. And then just after that, there was another 91-meter interval. That hole ended in pegmatite. We were at the extent of the drill. The drill couldn't drill actually further than the 640 odd meters that it was currently at, and we had to call the hole. So that hole was very well mineralized and just served to continue the extent of the mineralization that we were seeing. As well, the system continues to be open to the east. We were drilling to the east with holes 24, 26, and 28, and continue to hit intervals of spodumene pegmatite mineralization. This here is a cross section that just displays a few of the holes that we've drilled. What's to note is hole 18 in the middle of the screen here. That was that large 250-meter interval that graded at 1.69%. All of these holes here are very well mineralized, and you can see the system starts from essentially the top and comes all the way down, trending towards the southeast. Hole 24A here, that's the most furthest hole that we've drilled, continue to hit spodumene pegmatite, and one of our plans for the summer program is to step back in towards CO6, CO14 that you can see at the top. Those are the outcropping rocks that essentially we can see. We'll start to step back in towards that to tighten up the drill spacing. The current drill spacing between, say, hole 18 and hole 22 here is about 200 meters. So we want to tighten that up to about 100-meter spacings. This here is a shot of that hole 21, which was 347 meters, a continuous spodumene pegmatite interval. You can definitely see the spodumene pegmatite. It's this white rock here. Those little darker bits, those are wall rock. So, having a wide interval such as this is pretty phenomenal, and it's probably in the top 10, maybe even the top 5 of widest intervals worldwide. This is a long section of all the drilled holes to date down that mineralized zone. So you can see CO1 is on the left of the screen here. That's to the northeast. You can see the drill holes that have been drilled all the way down to the southwest, ending at CO15 there. And we continue to hit spodumene bearing pegmatite all the way through. Some really large, nice wide intervals here that are stringing together quite nicely. When we hit that hole 21 there with that 347-meter interval, there was a lot of questions from people saying there's no possible way that you could have hit something that wide, that significant. But we have been doing the work, and we have been taking measurements of the surface contacts of the pegmatite dikes. We also sent a camera down the drill hole afterwards, and that's also taking pictures of the structure within the rock. And everything's lining up, so that is essentially showing that we are drilling true width perpendicular to the structure. We've also been doing some initial metallurgy work on the project. Initial mineralogical work that we've done has shown that spodumene is the primary lithium-bearing mineral within all the pegmatite samples. There's no petalite, lepidolite, and amblygonite, that sort of thing. Um, Currently, we do have samples in with SGS, and it's testing for more metallurgical to see how the beneficiation of the defined mineralized zone would be and what sort of pigmatite flow sheet we would use. Current testing, they're seeing if it is DMS amenable, HLS, that sort of thing. So, that is ongoing work, and we should have some results coming out this summer from that. This here is a chart that I like to refer people to. I'm not a geologist, but when I see a chart like this, it hits home to me because you can see red is the spodumene pegmatite, and you can see where we're picking that up in all the drill holes. So this picture is from holes 1 all the way through to 27. As I mentioned, 27 was a very significant hole for us, pretty much the best hole that we've drilled. 56% of that hole was mineralized. So you can see the red here, that's that large interval of the 179 meters, then followed by 58, and then another 91 meters. And you can see that it actually ended in mineralization. Same with hole, I believe it's 22, hole 18 that had that 215-meter interval. What's not mentioned too much is that there's also another 100 meters of mineralization within that hole. So it was a very well mineralized hole with 72% of it was mineralized. 14 holes that we've drilled have greater than 50-meter long intervals. 5 of those holes are greater than 100-meter wide intervals. So this is stacking up to be a pretty significant mineralized zone. Upcoming catalysts that we have. So we're already into June. We were back out on the project in May, and we did a large project-wide mapping and sampling program. Last year, when we first got out to the project, we'd only just tested and walked on a small portion of the project right around that mineralized zone. So this past month, we've been sort of spreading out and testing more of the area, walking it, mapping it, and sampling it. In June, that's currently now, we've just reported the last of our winter drill program assays, and we've actually started drilling. So the drill is currently turning. We have one drill, and we will continue with drilling through the summer. And the part of the summer program is to continue testing that mineralized zone, coming back in and tightening up our drill spacing from the 200-meter spacing more to about 125-meter spacing. We do need to break in September for moose hunting season, and then we'll get back out there in October and continue on with our drill program. The main thing that we're looking towards is to put an inferred resource on this Cisco project. So, there is a lot of drilling that we need to do coming forward, and we will have constant news flow with our assays reporting from that. Why lithium? Why Quebec? Lithium is a critical mineral that is essential for all green energy technologies. Not only do you have electric vehicles, but you also have battery storage systems. And with the electrification of the world these days, there's going to be a demand for lithium moving forward. There always will be a demand for lithium. And right now it's a very depressed market, but that will turn. And when it does turn, I think Cisco Project will be well suited for that. Why Quebec? Quebec is a very mining friendly jurisdiction. Um, they have a few funds in Quebec that participate in financings with us. It's just been a very supportive area to have worked in. They also have the Becancour Emerging Battery Hub. So there's a few of the end users like GM, POSCO, Ford. They have warehouses down there, factories down there that will eventually be supplying, the supply chain for electric vehicles or what have you. Thank you for listening to our presentation. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to any of us. Thanks.